Thanks, Phil, for talking to me today. Today I'd like to talk about anxiety and depression and what you can do to help people that suffer from this.
Yeah, in some ways, when we talked about some of the techniques we use for smoking, we talked about people controlling their own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the problems people have with anxiety are thoughts getting out of control. We sometimes see people and they suffer from anxiety, depression, sleep problems, these kind of things. And I sometimes say to them, almost half jokingly, well, the problem is you think too much. And I always say, yes, that's it. The minds are continuously going round.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is to get them to control their thoughts. Now, it's a strange thing because you can't just stop the thoughts. The thoughts are there. So what we do is we use techniques to distance themselves from their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And as people learn these techniques, they're able to not get carried away by the thoughts that come into their minds. So the difference between somebody who's sane, like most of the people I assume you know, and people who are actually insane, the people who finish up in mental hospitals, is the people in the mental hospitals, they get to a point where they can't control their own thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
They get a thought.
They get carried away with it, yeah.
Well, it's more than being carried away. They get a thought that somebody's going to kill them, and this becomes overwhelming to them, or
Mm-hmm.
they get a thought that they're useless, and this is so overwhelming that they're incapable of doing anything.
Yeah.
And most people, even if they get these thoughts, they're able to exercise some kind of control, so we can lever off that. We give them more control.
All right. You mentioned distancing your thoughts, or distancing yourself from your thoughts. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. It's a technique we use, and it's related to some of the work I do in right and left brain thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And when people concentrate on those thoughts and become aware of them, you see, under hypnosis, you go into a deep state of relaxation. The mind starts to quieten down.
Mm-hmm.
So as the mind quietens down, they become aware of this stream of thoughts. And we get them to concentrate on that stream of thoughts. And there's a certain technique we use which is related to this idea of right and left brain thinking,
Mm-hmm.
where we move them into the other hemisphere of the brain. And they're able to observe those thoughts. Now the thoughts don't go away.
Yeah.
They're still there, but it's almost as if they're watching these thoughts in the background.
Okay.
And I think I said to you that one of I often ask people who come in for smoking, and I might ask them if they ever work with money, and whether they've ever had the idea, somebody gives them $100 note, whether they take that $100 note. And of course people generally are honest, they don't do that.
Mm.
And people can control their thoughts. So the idea of distancing yourself from the thoughts, and this is, I'm assuming that they're saying, this is people who are not in mental hospital, can distance themselves to some extent. So we lever off that using some techniques which are far too complicated to go into just at the moment.
Okay, sure.
And people remark that they sleep better. They're able to even come aware of these thoughts. People who had a woman, for instance, who is very successful in business. And once we'd gone through these techniques, we found that she'd sit in a board meeting and she actually stopped talking. She says, it's the first time I stopped talking. I wasn't controlling our board meeting. And she started to observe the people around her.
So it was her whole outlook on life that
yeah,
changed.
she slowed.
Just
that's right. It slowed.
Aspects, yeah.
Everything slowed down. She became more observant, more aware. And one of the things, it's a bit like I talk about going into the mirror world almost, where the world's the same, but you see it from a different angle.
Mm.
And normally when we talk to people, we listen to their words. Now people can say whatever they want, but they can't disguise their body language. They can't disguise their intonation. And this is how lie detectors work. They go through that. And when people move into that other realm of thinking, where they slow down their mind, they start observing these things and they become aware of things. Women generally are better at this than men. You often work in a company and there'll be a bloke and a woman having an affair, and it's going on for 6 months. And the blokes don't know about it, and all the women do. And
women's intuition,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Because they're more able to work at that level.
Mm.
Men sometimes find it very difficult. A lot of men see things in terms of black and white, yes and no, in that very rigid thinking. So we get them out of that rigid thinking, and it's people who have that rigid thinking who tend to fall down into that anxiety. Not only, but it's one of the things that goes with it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So roughly how long would it take for somebody that's suffering from anxiety and depression to see results from hypnotherapy sessions?
Well, that's a very good question. we aim to deal with all problems in a short number of sessions. The point being that if we haven't resolved or at least got some good inroads into this within say 2 or 3 sessions, then I might refer them to somebody else or to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I mean, not like psychiatrists where you come back for 2 years and then they say, well, come for another 2 years and you're not able to do something. We aim to get these quick results, and generally we do.
Yeah.
And people find after the first session that their way of thinking has changed. And then they come back and we reinforce that. Sleep problems, people, it doesn't matter what they come for, they might come for smoking, completely unrelated things, but they always say they sleep very well after a session.
That's good to know.
And it's because it slows the mind down.
Oh, good. So it's a good alternative to medication and...
Absolutely, absolutely. Medication, all medication has side effects, and a lot of the medication they give for sleeping is addictive. The sleep that you get isn't necessarily a natural sleep. It does inhibit REM sleep, and REM in the normal medical profession, they don't really understand REM sleep and what it does.
Is that your deepest level of sleep?
It's what's called rapid eye movement sleep. It's where you have your dreams.
Okay.
And dreams are an essential part of resolving and moving forward with issues. And several people can survive without REM sleep, but they can.
Yeah.
But the difference between somebody who's able to use their dreams and resolve issues with their dreams means they can deal with them much more effectively. It's an important part of things. In fact, we do often do what's called a post-hypnotic suggestion. We say things to them that will actually take effect later on. And one of them is to encourage that REM sleep and to say to people, yeah, well, we've planted a seed here, and when you go to sleep tonight, there's things going to happen that will actually take that out to completion.
Okay, well, that's great. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, we look forward to talking to you next time.
Okay, thank you, Monique.